Hello and welcome to Hibs Talk. I'm your host as always, Gavin. Joining me today is Stephen.
Hello.
And Murray.
Hello guys.
And today we're going to be going through the Aberdeen game. Then we'll be looking at Ryan Porteous and having a talk about him in a new segment we are going to call Let's Talk. We'll then look ahead to the Livingston game, and to finish up I was joined by Livingston fan Liam, who gave us a Livingston perspective ahead of the game. Okay, let's jump straight into the Aberdeen game then. Hibs definitely started the better team, playing a lot of the better football, and we were the first ones to have a penalty claim. Hanlon bursting forward, which we'll come back to in a minute. A really good cross from deep, and Boyle went down from a push under Considine. Did you both of you think that was a penalty?
Stonewall.
Stonewaller for me.
Aye. Yeah, both saying penalty.
Yeah, completely.
I agree with you there. And then Horgan looked lively. First chance he had, he put it inside net, and next one he forced a great save from Lewis after a good bit of footwork to kind of trick the defenders. Murray, what's your thoughts been on Horgan's start to life at Easter Road?
Well, he's impressed me, I have to say. I mean, he was the best at a bad bunch against Ross County. I thought he looked really lively in the first half. I thought he drifted in and out of the game in the second half, and then he scored a great winner against Ross County. I am impressed with him, and the fact that we've got him on a 3-year deal as well is quite encouraging in my eyes. So hopefully many more good performances to come from him.
Next up, Boyle had a chance. Used his pace cleverly to get past the defenders and got a shot off. I'd imagine that would have been a lot more dangerous with his right foot. And then Stephen, another penalty claim. This time it was the other end. Hanlon bringing down Ferguson. Fair to say it was a penalty. Do you think, or should have been a penalty? Do you think Ferguson prevented his team from getting the penalty by making such a drama? Do you see the way he goes down with his arms flailed up and stuff? If he just went down more naturally, do you think he would have got the penalty?
I don't know, to be honest. I think that the referee, who's just never seemed to have a clue on Saturday, it was one of the games where literally nothing was going any team's way, and I think that's how it played out to a draw. It should have been a penalty for Aberdeen though, so I think pretty much even throughout the game, even in terms of the penalty claims and stuff. So,
Murray, what was your thoughts on it?
Well, they were both penalties. I'm not going to say that it was. I've heard so many supporters say that it wasn't a penalty and for Aberdeen and everything like that. And if you didn't think that was a penalty, I think you need to stop going to football matches, to be honest.
Well, Aberdeen's goal came when from a corner. May at the back post. Stephen, how did May get so much room at the back post?
I think it's just been evident for the last season and a bit now. Just no good at all at defending set pieces. I think we're more zonal rather than man marking, and I think that's a big issue now.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many teams that stick to zonal these days, and any teams that do, they do falter at set pieces. Back post, front post, there always needs to be a man there.
Aye. Especially, I mean, you know, I know he didn't have the season a lot of people were expecting last season, Stevie May, but he's still a dangerous striker.
Of course he is.
And to give a striker that much space to head the ball back across goal was ridiculous. I can't say the word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Ludicrous.
That's the one. Thanks, Money.
Every set piece though, he's already like head and shoulders above like all your defenders.
Aye.
So I mean, you're already at a deficit then.
Aye.
It was the exact same against Motherwell as well, with like Salmon and Cadden and stuff in the box.
Yeah.
Like, it's just evident that we've got the set pieces wrong, and if we trained at that 6 days a week, we'd still not be any better at the weekend.
And then, like I say, the ball did come back across goal, and then, you know, it's a very half-hearted shot kind of towards Bogdan, and then, like, what's that phrase? The Rangers thing about the Rangers keeper, you know.
What's he doing, Tom?
Aye,
What's
aye.
the keeper doing?
What's the keeper doing, Tom? That's what it is. Aye. So, what's the keeper doing, Tom? What's Bogdan doing? What was going on with Bogdan? Murray, your thoughts on Bogdan with the goal?
See, with that goal, it was just. I think that typified the problem that we've got with goalkeepers in the past, couple of years. We've no seemed to have a right decent goalkeeper And I mean, didn't get me wrong, Bogdan's had a good couple of games where he's made some saves, he's kept us in matches. The game against Tripolis is the big one for me. But it's when a keeper can't do the simple things. That's when alarm bells start ringing for me. And that's what we've had the past couple of seasons. If you look at the game on Saturday, personally speaking, I said at the time, I thought the goalkeeper could have came out for it. I might be wrong in that, and maybe other people's got a different opinion from me on that. But I just think he could have came for it. But he stayed at home and he made an arse of it. There's no other way I can describe it. And for the rest of the game, because he had so little to do, that was the only thing that we talked about, was that one mistake.
We went in the second half. The second half, not a lot really happening, and until Lennon decided to change things up a bit. Took Stevenson off, put Hanlon to left back, brought on Maclaren, brought on Heinemann for Gray. How refreshing is it to see, obviously it paid off with the goal, which we'll come back to the goal in a second, but how refreshing, Stephen, is it to see, a manager being willing to change the system and for us to have the players to make those changes?
Well, I think the whole thing with taking Stevenson off, that's a statement. It's just showing that the team's not based in a place where you've got one player that will remain on every single game, and that's pretty much what we've come to expect for Stevenson now. I mean, with every left back we've brought in since 2012, it's literally just been a backup in case Stevenson's injured, and now the fact that Lennon's willing to take him off and mix things up a bit, it does change that, and I think it's got to give Hibs fans a wee bit more to think about. You're not going to have to sit and rely on Stevenson, and when it comes to playing a 3-5-2, it means that you can push another winger on the left side rather than having Stevenson do the left wing back all the time. I mean, you've got Agupong coming in now, played outstanding in the reserve game, and then you've got Horgan that played left wing. So to mix things up later on in the game, I mean, you can't have Stevenson run for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And now that you've got two other left wingers there, it's got to make things a lot easier for us going forward.
And Stephen, just quickly, you'd said you'd read just before we started recording about you'd read the article in Hanlon saying he used to play attacking midfield. He obviously got the assist. So what was he sort of saying in the article?
Well, I mean, he was saying about playing for Hutchie Vale as an attacking midfielder, always had that sort of ability about him to go rushing forward. And I mean, me and Juve sat Easter Road for 3-4 years together now, and we've watched Hanlon make these, well, what I've considered stupid runs straight out the middle for a centre back. But
if you're playing a back three, it's fine.
It's fine when you're playing a back three, but I mean, it's. I think that article came out today to justify it now that it's actually come to something, because there's been so many times over the last season and a bit now that he's made day runs and nothing's come of it, and he's left Ambrose hanging at the back.
Yeah.
And we know what happens when players run at Ambrose.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting article, but I don't know what to keep seeing it. And it's happened for the last 5 games now. So
well, it happened at the last game because he went to left back. That was slightly different. But yeah. So I think it's fair to say Maclaren's had a slow start. Obviously he got the goal, which was great. He's had a slow start to his career at Hibs. Well, his second stint at Hibs. I mean, he's played in the league anyway. He's played 3 games. Averaged only 34.3 minutes a game. Scored the 1 goal. So that's 0.3 goals a game. Plus you add into that 2 games in Europe and a League Cup appearance as well. That really that's 6 games and 1 goal. It's not been a great return. Murray, do you think this will be Maclaren up and running now?
I'd like to think so. And the way that I see it is the fact that, yes, when you see the stats like that, yeah, it doesn't sound great. But equally, I think a lot of people need to remember, although, a football player should always kind of be relatively fit. But obviously Maclaren was away at the World Cup. He was obviously training all that time in the World Cup. I'm not 100% sure if he played in a World Cup game. I could be wrong on that. But, obviously he had quite a fast start to a fast end to the season with Hibs last season. Went straight away to the World Cup, had a couple of weeks off, and then basically back into it at Hibs. So I don't know how much pre-season he's actually had, like how much fitness and everything like that he's actually managed to get back up to code. So hopefully that goal will just get the shackles off him and he'll hit the ground running.
Finishing up, there was the coming together between Mackay-Stevens and Porteous. Fair to say, I mean, it was a foul, and Porteous probably did deserve a booking from it. Was that coming together, or was Mackay-Stevens very clever about headbutting Porteous?
He's just a horrible, you ratty bastard. Like, it actually is. There's no other words to describe him, and he's been like that for years before he went to Celtic.
You just love
United.
making me having to do all this editing.
Didn't
with the
even
beeps and
beep
that.
it. It's actually ridiculous that he keeps doing this stupid thing. And fair enough, like he was caught by Porteous. It was a definite foul, definite yellow card. But stupid wee things like that, especially with all the stuff that's been highlighted over the last 3 and 4 weeks now, with Naismith and Brown and all the things. Like, why even bother? Because he kens that it's got to come back up, and now he kens that nothing's got to like happen with retrospective action, because there was a precedent set with Morelos and that. So it's players are. They just, there's no words now. Like it's just a horrible wee. It actually is.
So Stephen thought he should have been sent off. Murray, what was your thoughts on the coming together?
I thought he was very clever in what he done, because I've seen it a couple of times on Twitter now, and I have to admit, at first when I was at the game, I thought I really did, but I thought Porteous made a bit of Amelia at the game. I thought he made a bit of Amelia, hands up. But when I sat down and I watched it about 6 or 7 times, I thought, no, he's been extremely clever in what he was doing. But Mackay-Stevens was doing that the whole game on Saturday. Every time somebody was getting close to him and being touched tight to him, hands were up, he was screaming for fouls. 9 times out of 10 he was getting them. You need to know that you're going to get hit now and again. Be that you're getting kicked or pulled off the ball, whatever. Didn't go down like a big all the time. Get what I mean?
Aye, no, he does go down like an arse, put it lightly. Yeah, fair to say there's not a lot of love for Mackay-Stevens there then.
No.
No, not a lot of love for Mackay-Stevens in the room. But I think there's a lot of love for Ryan Porteous. So next up, let's talk about Ryan Porteous. I think we're going to start this as a little segment we do every now and then, and have a let's talk and then about a topic. So today it's going to be Ryan Porteous. So he's only 19. First question I've got for both of you is, do we need to remember he's only 19 and not put too much pressure on him?
Not at all. Not at all. Every game last season that he played is at the start against Rangers. I says that he should be a starting. He should be above McGregor in the pecking order, 100%. And when Ambrose is going off on one, Porteous is the person that's there as a starting centre back, especially in a 4-4-2 or 4-5-1. Porteous needs to start.
Right. Well, you've answered one of my other questions, so thanks for jumping ahead with that.
Worries,
Murray, do we need to remember he's only 19, not put too much pressure on him?
I think. See, I'm on the fence here, because as much as I think, for what I've seen of him, and I agree with Stephen there, when I seen him against Rangers last season, I thought he was outstanding, and I do agree with him in a sense that I think he's above McGregor in the pecking order. But at the same time, we all know how quickly things can turn round in football, and my fear for him is that he's going to go on a 5 or 6 game run where he's not playing that great. Has he got that wee bit of inner steel to say, well, it's a bad patchy form, I'm going to get better? Or is it going to be a case of he's just got to hide? Now, I think, personally speaking, I think it's going to be, he has got that inner steel, because he strikes me as that kind of guy that he's very confident in his ability. He is 19. He's going to have a bad spell. But again, it's when he has that bad spell, is the inner steel there to say, I'm better than what I'm doing, or sorry, I'm better than what I'm putting out, or is he got to crumble? So and at this point, I can't answer that.
Aye. Is he? So Stephen, you've already answered this. With your thoughts, Murray, do you think if all defenders are fit, Is he a current starter?
Yeah,
Aye.
completely.
So you don't think that Lennon will be bringing in a centre back before Friday?
No.
So back to Porteous. How good can Porteous be?
Oh, Stephen, you got to take that one first, or will I?
It's limitless. Like his potential's limitless. You know, I reckon he'll be capped with Scotland in the next 2 years, 100%.
Right.
And he'll not be at Hibs within the next 3 years, 4 years.
I would go with that.
Yeah,
but
I would go with that, and I think he's got a. Put it this way: if we sold Scott Brown for 4.4 million, I would say he's getting double. In today's market, I would say he would go for double, because as has been said there, it's the potential there for a young, fearless centre half, which is what he is. You know, he's got all that. He's just got all the attributes here to be a right top player in the game. So I would really think that he's got to break that. I think he's got to break the transfer record for a received fee.
We're looking at the stats he's got now. He's averaging this season 84.6% passing accuracy for a defender, 91% at the weekend against Aberdeen. His duels, he's winning 44.3% of his duels, 55.3% of his aerial duels, and averaging 9 interceptions a game for a 19-year-old defender. That is outstanding, and those stats are only going to go up as he gets older.
Ken, what it is though, it's like, I mean, Lennon's come up like after last season, and he says that he reckons we're on par with Aberdeen now. Right now, Aberdeen's a good comparison right now for us because they've got Scott McKenna, and
great minds.
Exactly. And with Celtic's interest in Scott McKenna, right? I mean, Hibs have basically been like a feeder club for Celtic. They literally just bring the players through and then give them to Celtic. But I think that this, with the whole McGinn thing recently, Porteous is the next one, and I don't think that they'll get McKenna, in my opinion. And with that falling through, I think that over the next 2-3 years, Porteous has got to be their big target.
I think I hope anyway, but I can see him being another one that goes down south. You mentioned Scotland there. Obviously, we've talked about McKenna. There's been talk of Scotland long term playing Tierney as a left centre back and in a back five. There's also Suter, who's just got his first call up this week. There's also the captain of Leeds, Liam Cooper. So, is he a future starter for Scotland? You know, every single game.
4 years down the line, aye. Before that, I think he's got to take a bit of time to break through, because it all just depends on what happens with Tierney. I
think he's got to do his spell in under 21s as well.
That's the thing though. Like, he was our standout player for the under 21s in the Toulon tournament as well. Like, you played pretty much every minute of every game there. And for a player at 19, well, 18 at the time, to have that impact in under 21s, going away to tournaments, I think he's already got 8-9 caps or something for the under 21s, something like that. So he's already starting to establish himself, and he's got the attitude. It's like when McGinn first went into the Scotland setup, he went to an under 21s game and carried the bags, and all of a sudden he found himself in the Premier, in the first team for Scotland. And I think that's the kind of attitude that Porteous has got. He'll follow in McGinn's footsteps in an international stage.
Murray, your thoughts?
I think as well there, right, we're talking about obviously Hibs being a feeder club to Celtic and everything like that, which historically, strictly speaking, I suppose you could say we are. But at the same time, I think now the mindset has kind of changed, and I think McGinn is a perfect example of that. We all thought, and we all said it at the time, McGinn was going to Celtic, and we had resigned ourselves to that. But then Celtic started basically just lowballing us all the time. They expected us to crumble like more or less every other Scottish team and take whatever bid that they came in with. And in fairness to Hibs, well, no, that's not what you're doing. This is the value. This is what we value on it. If you can't match it, then there's no deal. A couple of years down the line, if Porteous keeps going the way that he's gone, he will go. But I hope that the same thing's going to happen with him as what happened with McGinn. A team from down south just got to say, is that what you want? That's a steal for us. We've got that in small change. There you go. But meeting the value that what Hibs want, rather than just accepting the first offer that came in for Celtic.
And I think for in order that to happen, it's really important that we get him signed up to a long-term deal soon. Hopefully he signs like a 5-year deal or something like that. Hibs need to identify, realise how... Aye, sorry, Money, on you go.
No, sorry, that's my fault. I'm interrupting you. I think as well, I could be wrong here, but I think Porteous was one of the laddies for the under-20s who signed a long-term deal with the club.
I couldn't tell you.
I could be wrong.
I couldn't tell you. But whatever his deal is, I want a longer one. Okay, right. Let's move our attention to the weekend. We're playing Livingston away at Tony Maclaren Arena. Aye, let's get it right. It's not been that for a while. It's the Tony Maclaren Arena. I'll not bother with all the pasta jokes that we could come out with. Let's just talk about the game. So how are you feeling? Are you feeling quite confident of a win? You know, obviously coming off the back of the draw against Aberdeen. Stephen, you feeling confident of an away win? Or do you think Gary Holt, who's, you know, starting to get his feet under the desk there?
Their assistant manager's their manager, and he's just not got the coach.
Well, you say that. If that's the case, this is the assistant manager that was with them in League One has got them back to promotion, so he can't be that bad.
No, but he's not got to get them many points in the Premier League. Like,
how no?
They've
already got 4.
Gav, we'll go there and we'll get about 7 or 8-1. And I say 1 because I can find well that Ambrose has got to do something stupid and we've got to concede.
Well, they're only a point behind us as we speak, so let's not get too carried away. Murray, your thoughts on the game?
Well, I mean, I have to say I'm confident. I'm not as confident as Stephen by the sounds of saying we're going to win 7 or 8-1. But listen, Livingston are a team that they're the underdogs in every game that they're going to go in, and no matter who they play, that big target's got to be on your back at the end of the day. You know, Livingston are they're going to be fighting for their lives come the end of the season, right? I don't think anybody expected them to get promoted last season. I don't even think the most avid fan would say that they expect them to get promoted. But, you know, the Hibs team obviously now that is playing them in the Premier League, it's got to be a different one to the one that played them in the Championship. And I do think that we're going to go into the game. I didn't like going into the game feeling too overconfident because I'm always aware that it's Hibs. Do you know what I mean? And they could just turn it round on you whenever it seems to please them. But I have to admit, if we're not scoring at least 3 or 4 goals, it's a disappointment, to be honest. Because I do think we're a much, much better team. I think the pitch will play a big point. I think the pitch will play a big part of this as well, because their plastic pitch is horrendous. And
do you think that we will have 2 or 3 new players in place?
No.
Transfer window's on, closes, I think it's Friday?
It's Friday, it shuts, aye.
So will we have Lennon wanted 2 more players at least?
He could get 5 players in, but none of them will play on.
No, I'm saying will we have them in the door by the game?
We've still not even got Milligan in the door.
He technically is, but no. Will we have 2 players in the door by come Saturday?
I just think that this is overhyped, and if anything, we might get 1 in, and it'll depend on whether Swanson goes early or not. If the whole Swanson thing drags out till Thursday, because he's definitely going. If Swanson drags out, then we'll maybe have 1 player in. But I can't see us having 2 or 3 players.
Mr. Positivity as usual, Stephen. Keep it up. At least you're consistent. Murray, will we have 2 or 3 new players in place come Saturday?
I certainly hope so. You know, I do hope that we have at least 1, 2 at a minimum. But it's reassuring to hear Lenny talking the other day in the paper there, saying, you know, he was asked, do you want to bring players in? And it just short answers, you know, yes. Where do you want to strengthen? Everywhere. Have you got funds for it? Yes. You know, that to me was just dead reassuring to know that he is working to get another couple of players in. And I think we will get another couple in. Who they are, that's a different story.
We'll have to wait and see. Okay, final. So Stephen, you went what, 7, 8-1? Aye. Murray, your score predictions?
I'll go 3-0 Hibs.
I'll go a solid 2-0. Next up, I had a chat with Livingston fan Liam to chat about Kenny Miller leaving, Holt coming in, and is David Martindale the real manager, as Stephen said. So, Liam, first off, let's get your thoughts on, obviously, a few weeks ago, Livingston were making the news with Kenny Miller leaving. What was your thoughts when that all broke, and what's your thoughts now? I mean, obviously, still processing because it was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was probably the most Livingston thing I've ever encountered. But to be fair, I think it's good for the club, in my opinion. 'Cause, I mean, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't great either. I think he came in and tried to sort of instill a new style of football. He wanted us to pass the ball, and we just weren't getting the ball forward quick enough as we did last season, and that's the whole ethos of how we got promoted last year, basically. And he just, even as a player, he didn't really add much, to be honest. He was like half the time against Kilmarnock, he was playing left back. Like, he would just drift back for no real reason. He was just, I think the best period of play that I've seen under him was when he came off against Celtic. And honestly, we just, I'm not going to say that we controlled the last 15 minutes, but we played with, it just seemed as if there was like a freedom from the players. I wasn't gutted, to be fair, when he left, but it was just, as I said, reading the news on the Sunday night, it was just the most sort of Livingston thing you could ever imagine.
And there was rumours of the likes of Hopkins coming back and a couple other names mentioned, and it ended up being Holt, who has been out of management for a while, done a bit of coaching from Norwich. I think his last management spell in Scotland was a wee stint at Falkirk. So what was your thoughts when Holt was appointed?
Well, he was like the main favourite the first time round, and when you seen the names popping up, there was some of the names were. I mean, well, it seemed to be between him, Kenny Miller, and Gavin Skelton, and out of those three names, you were automatically sort of drawn to Gary Holt because he was a decent player, central midfielder, but he was good and very underrated as a player. So I thought it was my first choice when the manager's job first came up after Hopkins left. He seems to have a wee bit more. I don't know what the word is. Like it's as if it's an honour to be Livingston manager for him, where Kenny Miller always sort of conducted himself as it's an honour for Livingston to have Kenny Miller. And I think Holt, he speaks really well, and yeah, you can tell that he's just grateful to be back managing a team, and 100% record in the SPL is not so bad so far.
You say about him being delighted to be back managing and stuff. What would you say to I know the Scotsman done an article about how big an influence Martindale is behind the scenes and how much he's pulling the strings, and there's even talk of him putting money in the club. What's your thoughts on Martindale?
Yeah, this is the thing that sort of got me recently. It's like, where was all this last year? If he was pulling the strings last year, why wasn't it announced? I think for me, after being at the Player of the Year Awards after we got promoted, the speeches they all said, like Hopkins especially, thanked Martindale for the amount of work that he puts in and the amount of stuff that he does for the club. I think he's just a good coach that the players like having around, and it offers that bit of continuity. In terms of him putting money into the club, I've got no idea. That's the thing. It's all hearsay at the moment, and I think again, it's a lot to do with Kenny Miller. I think I'm probably beginning to sound a bit like a Rangers fan now, but because he's an ex-Old Firm player, it can't be his fault it has to be something to do with the club. And I think all this has come out all of a sudden. Like I heard Tom English on Sports Sound a couple of weeks ago bringing up Martindale's past all of a sudden. I don't know how much you know about it, but he was in jail for drug dealing. But that wasn't mentioned last season when we were doing well under David Hopkin. All of a sudden, because Kenny Miller's involved, it's this guy's a villain. He shouldn't be doing this. He's controlling the club. I just seen the Scots, was it the Scotsman or the Guardian article today? I seen that today, and I was just, as I said, like where was all this last year?
I thought it was funny with Open All Mics, BBC Open All Mics at the weekend. They had obviously Livingston's first game under Holt, and Martindale screaming instructions, and he's doing all this stuff on the sideline, and Holt was kind of standing there a bit quiet and stuff, and I think it might be Michael Stewart or something was commenting on it and how weird it was and stuff, and I'm like, Holt's been there for like 3 days, of course it's going to be Martindale doing all this stuff. It was crazy.
It was the same last year as well under Hopkin. I think Martindale's just a bit of a it's that sort of.
You're always going to have assistant managers that are heavily involved. You
look at Tony Docherty for Aberdeen. He's exactly the same. He doesn't just sit behind. It's like they expect the assistant manager to be like that Chewing the Fat sketch where he's just copying what the manager's doing. But I think Martindale's just a bit of a character, and the players seem to like him. So. He puts his thoughts across, but as I said, we were doing well last season. Where was all this then? But as I said, I think I'm starting to sound a bit like an old firm fan that it's all conspiracy theories against us. So,
and how did you feel? I mean, obviously, just getting your first win this season. Or how did you feel you played?
I thought we were excellent. Honestly, I think I was with my dad, and he sort of hit the nail on the head, and he said it looked like that we enjoyed defending again, because we had the three musketeers of Alan Lithgow, Craig Halkett and Declan Gallagher at the back. I mean, Alan Lithgow is just... I've never seen a player improve so much in watching Livingston over the years, because in League One, he was a bit of a scapegoat for the Livingston fans. Whenever we conceded goals, he'd concede a lot of penalties. He never really looked comfortable on the left-hand side. But then I think Hopkins just kept playing him there, and now he's just phenomenal. Like, he just doesn't miss anything. And news would have seen how dangerous he is at set plays at Easter Road last year when he scored within the first sort of 10 minutes. But we were getting the ball forward quickly. We were playing off second balls, playing our football in the last third rather than the defence under Miller. The amount of times the ball went back to the keeper was unbelievable. But on Saturday it was direct. We were forward, shots away, crosses into the box, set pieces. So, we were brilliant. Although I have to say, St Mirren were dreadful. Apart from a sort of wee spell in the first half for 5 minutes, as soon as they realised that the Livy defence were going to bully them, they just lost all sort of faith. And I don't even think they had I watched Sports Scene the other night, and it said that they didn't even have a shot on target, which is just, they were a shadow of the team they were last season.
Yeah, they've been very inconsistent start to this season so far. Just to finish up then, what's your predictions for the game at the weekend? What are you going to go for?
Well, I don't know. I mean, especially since the glorious League Cup final in 2004 that Livingston beat Hibs 2-0, we have had an abysmal record against Hibs. I would hate to see the aggregate score. Also, I just wanted to slip in that wee League Cup reference.
You always do.
But yeah, I mean, my head is saying Hibs have just got too many match winners. You've got Stevie Mallon, he's got a great record against Livingston. You've got Canberra, Maclaren, Boyle, who scored possibly one of the best goals I think I've ever seen in my life against Livingston a couple of years ago. I don't know, it seems as if we've got this mental block whenever we play against Hibs. So my head is saying a routine 2-0 win for Hibs, but my heart wants a 1-0 Livy win in the last minute with Alan Lithgow scoring the winner, to be precise.
Right. Hopefully it's your head that's right and not your heart.
Well, I'm sure you'll be delighted with that.
Yeah, I hope it's not close. I got Tony Wayne on my mind. It's like he's no friend of mine, but I hope he's having a good night. Hope he's having a good night. I got Tony Wayne on my mind. Yeah, when these friends of mine, you know we're having a good time. You know we're having a good night. Yeah. On my mind, his that guy's no friend of mine, but I hope he's having a good time. I hope he's having a good night. I got Tony